In this video, we're going to briefly talk through some of the options with regards to recording your PowerPoint presentation. Now, earlier today, we talked about ways that you can record it using just recording narration on individual slides, but also importing content. So if you recorded the audio using a tool called Audacity or any other audio editor, GarageBand or something, you can then save those as individual files and then import them into your presentation and place them in the appropriate area. Now, if you are working with the slides or working with the presentation and click on slideshow, you will then modify how people interact with the show. So here I'm going to set up the show, and if I want to present it, then I would say set up presented by a speaker, and then everything's gonna advance as I allow it. I can also do browse by an individual in a window, so instead of the full screen, they would just get like sort of a smaller window like this one here, or you can browse like at a kiosk and they get the full screen. So here you see loop loop continuously until they hit escape, show without the narration, show without animation, recorded on all slides. Setting up this feature on all slides, and then advanced slides manually or using timings if present. So manually is going to be the default, and so that sets up the show. Then if you go to record slideshow, and I'm not going to do it here because it takes up my whole monitor and you won't be able to see it, but if I go to record slideshow, then it'll pull up the slide that I'm talking about and the time that I'm discussing that particular slide, and then it will show me the next slide that's coming up, so I can sort of anticipate. I can set up my advanced organizers and those sorts of things, and then I just record and then advance and record and advance. And if I want to stop, then I will click escape, and then if I messed up a slide, for example, and it was slide 5 but 1 through 4 were okay, when I go to continue the recording, I would put my cursor on slide 5 and then record slideshow and start there. Now, a couple things you'll notice up here with the slideshow is I can use timings, I can show media controls, I have a couple of other features here. But when we go to the audio, and we'll look at this in a little bit, we'll have some other functionality that we can implement as well to kind of give yourself some control and or give the learner some control. So the other way we can record is to simply go to insert audio, and then I can select an audio from a file. So if I have pre-recorded content, so here I've selected slide 1. Now obviously I don't want this here. I could put it down here. I could put it wherever I want, really. And then let's say I'll go ahead and do the table of contents slide as well. So insert audio from a file, and then I have my table of contents slide here. So when I click on these, if I double click, I see I have some options here with regards to the audio format, but I'm not really gonna, I can play around with these things here, but there's really nothing there that really messes with the playback is what I really want to get into. So here I can click in sequence, I can click it, the audio will start automatically, so it doesn't make sense for it to start automatically. I like to have my audio invisible, so I want it to start automatically, but sometimes you want to give the user some time to look at the content and maybe click on an audio, or you're maybe using the audio as maybe a gamification aspect of something, or maybe you had the audio hidden and you want them to find it. Maybe you give them clues, and then once they actually find it, they can click on it. However, there's lots of ways you can use audio in a presentation, or in a tool. So here you have the hide during the show, so I don't want this showing, I can hide it there. I can rewind after playing, I can play in the background, so if I have background music, I can play there. I can modify the volume, and that can even fade in and fade out. Now for this type of thing, it's not a big deal to have the fade in and fade out, but later on when we play with our podcasting, we're going to want to have that fading in and fading out. So depending on the type of audio, fades might be important. You can actually trim the audio as well. So here, if I wanted to cut this like little initial piece here, I could then just trim that off, and likewise if I wanted to get rid of kind of that empty noise there, just go trim, and then I'm good to go. So you have, and you can add a bookmark, and then you can kind of just play it. Now, so same thing here if you mess up. So I do, well, if you mess up, you can just re-record and re-import the content. So it's not as, that's one of the benefits of the external audio. But if I'm doing the internal audio, so if I go to insert audio again, let me go to slide 3 here. Delete this. So I go to audio and I record audio. And I have a couple of ways I can do this. I can start recording here, which I'm not a huge fan of because it's a bit clunky. So I don't really use this kind, but if I escape here, sorry, I kind of escaped it anyway. I noticed that it didn't save it, so I have to actually kind of record the audio. Oh, and then insert it into the particular presentation. So I did insert that, and then I can just go to the next slide. So PowerPoint's gotten a little bit better over the years, so I can start recording Gator in middle age and determine whether I want to use that or not. So I stop here, and then I can listen to it and say insert. So then once I have it kind of in there, I can click on it, and then I can go to that playback, and I can say, do I want it to start automatically when clicked or whatever. So you can see here that you have the record audio feature here. You have the record audio and slideshow feature here, and then you have the other option of inserting audio from a file. So I hope this was useful. I will be linking to the other rest of this will be alongside the webinar from tonight. If you have questions on anything related to this PowerPoint or to the graphics layout media project, let me know. One key thing is everything needs to make sense, and not make sense to you, the developer and designer, but to the end user. So as you are putting stuff together, have somebody else look at it and go through it and see if it's clear what you're supposed to do and how you're supposed to interact, and if the content's being presented in a way that it makes sense, and those types of things. So make sure that from you as the designer and developer, it may seem obvious, but as you play around with it, you need to, as you're finalizing how people interact, you need to have that kind of external viewpoint. Hope you found this useful. Bye.